Hi, I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you are listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, we're back again for another live. Lots of controversy happened last night. We weren't able to bring you anything directly last night, but so much to talk about. Novak Djokovic, obviously disqualified from the US Open. Massive news.
Mate, and who would have thought that Djokovic, the only person who's going to end his run was going to be Djokovic? And we should have guessed, really. The form this guy's been on, it looked like no one was going to stop him. But in the end, he stopped himself. And I just couldn't believe it was happening, really. Like I wasn't even watching it, I'll be honest. I saw a bit of the beginning bit, and it just looked like I was just waiting for the match to sort of build up a bit. Maybe start watching the second or third set. But when I saw, it was quite a good game by the sounds of it. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get straight into that. So we just talk about the match as itself, like how it started. So from what I see, the most critical point in that match was where Djokovic had 4 set points? It was 40 love up.
Yeah, 3 set points.
3 set points to take the first set.
Yeah.
And Buster, on one of them, was able to pull off an amazing forehand, which just by a millimeter clipped the outside of the line.
Yeah.
To save a break point or a set point, and that is just pivotal. And we would not have seen what happened later on if it wasn't for that. So fair play to him. And then straight after that, was able to break him.
Yeah, and you saw obviously Djokovic had this slip, and it was a sort of injury. He like jarred the same shoulder, which ruined his US Open last year. And I think he was making some very weird shots after that. He did a drop shot. He did 2 drop shots from the backhand side, which he was obviously not wanting to hit through the ball because of his shoulder. And then he had this, I think he hit one in the net as well. I hit a net cord on another one of them. But yeah, you can see, obviously frustrated.
Oh, visibly so.
And he had something actually happen before that. He actually hit tennis ball at one of the side panels, where all the cameramen sit, and didn't hit anyone, obviously. So people just didn't think anything of it. But that was frustrations being shown beforehand. And then the incident, which, I don't know, it was just, 99 times out of 100, it misses the person. And this time, wham right in the throat, wasn't it? I'd never seen it before. Like, you'd have to be so accurate to be able to hit someone in this small area here.
But we've got to be honest now. We don't think he actually meant to do it, did he? Surely not. It looked very apologetic. It wasn't. For a start, it takes some accuracy to hit someone that directly in the throat, and it was just visibly. You could see he was frustrated. He's just been broken. He had a really good opportunity to take the first set. He feels like he probably should have done better there. It's Novak Djokovic at the end of the day, but you can't be acting like that. And it's just someone someone of his. He's the world number 1. He's been around for ages, over 30 years old. Come on, you can't be acting like that. You need to be a bit more mature in them situations and sort of handle it a bit better. And there's been a few times in his career he's been criticised a lot for this in the past, hitting the ball away and just visibly on court showing a lot of frustration. And you can say a lot of players do it, but for him, I feel like he does do it a bit maybe more than others, and it's caught up on him. And it's a shame because he's just now ended his winning streak. He's ending the chance of adding another slam to his many slams he's already won, but another one closer to Federer. Yeah, and it's just really disappointing for him, especially in the form he's been in this whole tournament and for the last year it seems.
So sad, isn't it? I mean, just having something like this, and where I think the whole tennis world stopped for 10 minutes and just couldn't believe what they were seeing, and I was one of them. We've seen this. It was sort of the signs of this happening were not for him, but this type of action happening. We saw Badeni, didn't we, in the
Yeah.
Masters? He
Yeah.
did the same thing and hit a cameraman, just ran one person in the stand and he hit the person. It can happen. And luckily that guy, it didn't hit him in anywhere, it just hit him on the elbow or something, didn't it? It didn't.
Yeah.
But this one, it hit her in a really...
Yeah, but this is a line judge as well. This is different. Remember, this is a line judge. I think it's different protocol on that for sure.
I think they said, yeah, if you just hit the ball, but I think if you just hit the ball, a dead ball with like intentionally into it, if it was to hurt someone in the crowd, you'd still probably be penalized, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't think that you could get away with just like, oh, well, it was just a fan, carry him out.
Yeah.
Probably still have the same thing. If that cameraman had hit him in the eye or something, or it hit him somewhere else, like in the, I don't know, down below's, you never know. He could, but then he thought he was probably going to get defaulted in that match.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to say about this whole line judge thing as well. Obviously, the game was over. She was still looking at the line, was she, after the match? I don't know how does it work. She seemed like she's still dead set on just looking straight and wasn't looking around. Obviously, didn't expect someone to hit a ball at her.
Yeah.
This brings into question: have the US Open really screwed Djokovic by not having Hawkeye on every single court and having line judges? Because no consistency throughout the tournament, then only certain players have line judges. If Djokovic was playing on an outside court, that wouldn't have happened, would it? He could have just smacked the ball as hard as he wanted at the back.
It's a good point you make. I understand what you're saying, but there's still an umpire. He could have hit an umpire. He doesn't really have. He's not controlling the way he's hitting the ball, is he? Really, you could say he's trying to hit the back of the court, but he's angry and he's just lashing out of the ball. You can't act like that. You're not allowed to do that, and it clearly states in the rules. Like I put out a poll yesterday on Twitter. It got quite a few votes actually. It was quite good. I think maybe just under 300 votes. And the consensus, well, the vote was for whether you felt that Djokovic should have been disqualified or not. And astoundingly, well, I'm quite happy to say that 70% of people agreed that he should have been disqualified. And you can't, like, I can see both sides, yeah? For me, you can't disagree with the fact that that is the rule.
Yeah.
That is the rule. That's always been the rule. He knew the rule. So you follow it, and there's no questions on what happened. He did hit the ball out of control, and it hit a line judge in the throat. So, yeah, you need to be disqualified for that. However, you can look at it the other way. He didn't mean it.
I know,
but it doesn't have anything about intention in the rule.
No, it's not about intent, because and I'm glad that they actually, it's black and white in this sort of situation, because they do follow the protocol very well. And I think Badeni was very lucky to get away with the one that he did, just because of the person just sort of brushed it off, laughed, and just said, no, it's fine. So didn't make a big deal of it. Some people, when they actually do get very injured, obviously we had the Nalbandian one, he defaulted. We had the Denis Shapovalov one, defaulted. Had the Tim Henman one when he hit a ball girl, I believe, in the ear. Yeah, see, things like that, instant default. So, and it should be. It doesn't matter about intent. You've got to control yourself. You're a professional sports person, and you're getting paid a lot of money to perform on the highest level.
Yeah.
And if you can't control, and obviously we know what the ramifications are now for Djokovic is, you've got the statistics there.
Well, I don't have it offhand, but basically he's going to now lose all prize money, which he would have gained from this tournament.
Yep.
Obviously no points, but he still will hold his points from last year's one, because we've got a 2-year ranking system now. Yeah. With points. That's all because of COVID, though, nothing related to this. But yeah, it's huge. And he will be fined now. There will be a lot of, I think it's 150,000 I've seen rumoured as an extra fine. We already know he's paid for a private house, which a lot of the top players have refused to do because they felt like it was too costly and they can't afford it. Notably Andy Murray. I don't really believe that, but that's another thing. Andy Murray's come out and said he can't afford his own place.
I don't believe that. I think he's won 3 Grand Slams, and he's won how many Masters titles? I'm sure he's got a healthy bank account.
Yeah, but irrelevant to that, Djokovic definitely will be a bit out of pocket from this event for sure. And I even saw talks of maybe like the US Open making disciplinary action for next year and not allowing him to partake in the US Open. I think that's a bit too far.
I think it's too far.
This is where we just get a bit silly. Like, at the end of the day, the guy made a mistake. We want to see him in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
he's arguably the greatest player in the world. We want to see him there. We know how well he performs. And it's just a bit like he's going to learn from it. What is he, 34 years old, 33 years old?
Yeah, he's around.
And you'd be expecting him to not be making these mistakes at this age. And but if he still is, he can still learn from it, come back. What I felt was a bit disappointing is this one thing. One criticism I do have is after it's happened, there's an opportunity to go speak to the press straight away in the post-match interview room. And he could have come out there and held his hands up and said he's sorry for what happened. And sort of nipped it in the bud then and there. Instead, he just allowed all the speculation to go ahead on Twitter, all people to be talking about him. You've had other players, which I feel like is a bit childish, to be fair, like Nick Kyrgios coming in, trying to say things about it. But it's just like, mate, come on, just relax. I love Nick Kyrgios, but there comes a time where just it's a bit much what he's doing now, I feel.
Didn't he say...
He's just completely against Novak, and whatever happens, he's just going to hit out of him. What did he say exactly? Do you have it?
He said, if Nick... Well, speaking of himself in the third person, if Nick Kyrgios does this same action, how many years suspension does he get? 5, 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
But I don't think...
And I saw Tommy Paul in the comments. Tommy Paul was like, you'd probably go to prison.
You never know. But I'm sure there'd be a lot more malice if he's hitting the ball as well. You never know. It might knock her out.
But no, irrelevant to that, I feel like he should have still come out in the post-match interview room and spoke about it then and there. Nipped it in the bud, and that would have been that. But he's had to come out since on Twitter. I think it was Instagram. He actually posted his message, and he was just talking about how he's apologetic for what happened. He understands the decision of the US Open, and that's good. I think we just move on from here. No hard feelings towards Djokovic, but he needs to learn from it. I also saw an interview. I don't know if you saw it from... I don't know where it was, maybe Wimbledon or might have been, I'm not sure what event, but it was a few years back where he was speaking about his antics on court and how he feels like he's never, ever going to be, he had an air of invincibility about him. Don't get me wrong, the journalist asking the question was a bit of a, I'm not going to say the word, but he didn't help himself. He didn't help the cause much. He could have just sort of been a bit more diplomatic in his response. And it come off a bit arrogant, and now it's really come back to bite him in the bud for sure. Because he's done exactly the same thing and been disqualified for a tournament.
And I saw obviously the outspoken John McEnroe came out as well, and he said, "Well, Djokovic just has to resign himself now to being the bad guy for the rest of his career, and he probably has to look at it that way because he was already fighting a losing battle anyway, with everybody being super Fed fans or Nadal fans, and he was really trying to get everyone on side, and stuff like this just doesn't help your cause, does it? You're just putting yourself further behind them. You just look, even though it's like not intentional. And you can see there's no...
It's a shame because his tennis does so much speaking, doesn't it? I don't feel like he needs to do anything other than that. Just keep playing tennis. If he was someone who had zero personality, say, and didn't speak after anything, or just was very someone like a gentleman, complete and utter gentleman, never stepped out of line at all and just played tennis, I think everyone would absolutely adore him. Do you not think?
Probably, yeah.
Because he's so good. Like, he is the next level of tennis. It's incredible to watch, and you're just blown away sometimes at some of the points he makes and some of the fighting spirit of him. But before we get on to that, let's actually talk about some of the comments we've had from a few people. I'm not ignoring you all. So yeah, let's just have a quick shout out to Sarah. Hiya, how you doing?
All right, Sarah.
We've got Sumner here as well.
Yeah.
Let's go through what was someone else saying?
Any questions in there?
I don't have many questions as of yet. I think people were just talking about who they want to. We're going to get onto that in a minute. People are saying who they think is going to win the US Open now.
I don't know, people claiming that the line judge might have been acting, but I don't think I watched it back. I first thought a bit of an overreaction, but then when I rewatched it, it wasn't the slowest ball being hit, to be honest. I think it was quite a good connection and just right in the throat. I mean, that would hurt, I think.
I know what you're saying, but I do agree a little bit. I think it was a bit of acting. I do feel like it was a bit over the top.
I think it's the shot.
I know it's a
more than
tennis
anything.
ball. It's not
I
a
don't-
cricket ball, mate.
I think it was just like if you imagine a brand new tennis ball which you've just got out of the tube. They're pretty hard, to be honest.
Yeah,
And
I know what you mean. It would hurt, but I don't think the way I don't know if she did. I think she received like treatment afterwards.
well, it probably just hurt her throat at the start. It's just a shock, probably. That's all I think. And it probably just couldn't breathe for a second, and probably that just panicked her, and then she just went obviously down. But yeah, it's sad to see. I don't obviously not going to call her out and saying that, because I'm not going to say that she's like some secret Federer or Nadal fan that's trying to get Djokovic disqualified, because that's just going to be throwing the conspiracies into the opens. But yeah, I think it's just it's just bad luck, and for her and for Djokovic, and just hopefully she's fine. And Djokovic, just come back and done your apology. Just let your tennis do the talking. That's it.
This is an interesting point Majid makes, saying he saw a tweet that the supervisor told him that the line judge's reaction had an effect. If she would have just got up and said it's okay, the decision would have been different.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, for sure. And then we had that same thing with the Bedeni. Like, if that guy had have gone down and gone, my elbow, and just been on the floor writhing around, he would have been defaulted, guaranteed. So that sort of reaction, if she had have just tried to struggle on, but I think it's just where it hit her. She wasn't expecting it. She was looking the other, like, straight forward. She didn't think a ball was suddenly going to she probably didn't know what it was. Something just hit her in the throat suddenly. You'd probably be in quite a lot of shock, especially if I don't know, maybe she doesn't have a very strong throat or neck, or she's not a guy. She's not like a big muscular guy like this cameraman who's a big guy. I know. If it hit him in the throat, it probably would have been all right. But I don't know.
He's also saying, what's he said? JG is talking about Noel playing and doing nothing. I mean, really, tennis is a very frustrating sport. It's super tough. It's constant self-criticism. Players react, get emotional, you know. And to be fair, I see what he's saying. I play tennis myself, and I'm not very good either. But I get extremely frustrated. So I do understand that there's a human side to this as well. You've got emotions. You need to factor that in. Everyone at one point will get frustrated on the tennis court, even Novak Djokovic. I just feel at times he could harness it a bit better, because there's a lot of players on tour who are a bit better than him at it. I would say that, without being too controversial.
I was speaking to one of my friends before we came on the podcast. He was saying you should try and get the line judge to come on the podcast. Said that'd be pretty good. So I said, imagine if we get her on the podcast and then cuts to a room, like bedroom. It's just got Federer posters all down.
Mate, I've seen some funny things. People saying how she's been paid off by Federer and Nadal to stand in that exact location and being hit by the ball and play them. Come on, it's ridiculous. People saying she's an actor. She's a paid actor.
Well, what can you do?
I think a lot of it's jokes, to be fair. It's quite funny to see all the the memes and stuff.
Don't want to make it too light. I mean, it's just obviously it's about she's not seriously injured, so you can have a little chuckle at certain aspects of it. But I want to really say now, the tournament is wide open, and we were excited before this about potentially getting a new Grand Slam winner. And now we've got the doors are wide open now. And who is going to step up? We've seen a lot of good tennis from all of these other players who are just in the next bracket below the Djokovic bracket at the top there. I'm just super excited now. I just don't know who's going to get it.
Well, could it be a Zverev? I don't think Lucas would want Zverev. Imagine if Zverev wins, facepalm.
Yeah.
Not one of Zverev's biggest fans, but I don't know. He's in some good form.
Yeah. Amazing form.
I don't know if you want to get onto his match.
Should we?
I'll get the draw up. You've got it here, right? You can scroll. Zoom in a little bit, maybe. It's a bit tricky to see.
Okay, I was going to say, if we just have a look down, if we start at the top, and I wanted to touch on this next game, really. Denis Shapovalov went through against David Goffin there. And Shapovalov is playing just how we wanted him to play. This is the Shapovalov that we wanted at the Australian Open. and now we're getting to see it. And he did all right in that first set. Goffin was playing some really well. It's a pretty even set, to be fair. And just then the tiebreak, he just fell apart a bit. And
well, Antonio's a big fan. He said Shapovalov's going to win it.
There is an interesting statistic which I did a little bit of research before this, and if you looked at it, you would probably fancy him against Carreño Busta, but he has a losing record against Carreño Busta of three matches to 1. But you'll be surprised to know he actually has a winning record against most of the other big players: Medvedev, Berrettini. I think even I'm not sure about Dominic Thiem, but Zverev, he's 2-2.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
He's actually, and like, to be, well, for me, I think like someone like a Zverev or Medvedev, that Medvedev could be there until the end. I think
Shapovalov's a bit of a bogey player. He's not really someone you want to be playing.
Yeah, for sure. If you're one of those big guys, for sure, he has all the tools.
And he's a bit unpredictable on court as well, which actually works in his favour quite a bit. I feel a lot of the time you're not sure what's going to happen next, what's coming next from him, and he's got a lot of shot versatility and a brilliant player. Like Antonio has just said here that he reminds him of a young Roger Federer. That's definitely big boots to fill.
Yeah, very big boots.
Not sure about that yet, but I would love it because I think Shapovalov's a really, really top guy and a brilliant tennis player. So
let's hope that he doesn't start lashing some balls into the crowd or at the umpire again or anything like that. We want to see him stay in, no defaulting. You've seen what happens, and this is too big a stage. And now he is obviously, well, he's moving into now the quarterfinal, and this will be his first Grand Slam quarterfinal now, which is incredible and really great for Canadian tennis as well, because we know how well that's doing at the moment. Yeah. Should we have a look quickly?
Well, El Chapo, mate. El Chapo.
El Chapo, definitely. Obviously, we had Tsitsipas's conqueror there, and I was watching the match. Umpire was pronouncing it Chorich. So I think this is the way I'm going to be saying it from now, Chorich. And he, dispatched Thompson very easily. And it was closer. The first set was pretty close, but after that, cruised through. And he's one of these people, you could be a dark horse, really. I mean, he took out Tsitsipas. He shows he's got a lot of fight in them, Chorich. And I think that this is something that we've not seen from him before. He's really sort of fallen apart in the slams.
Well, he was someone who lived up. He was the one coming through, a bit like a Felix. All the anticipation of being a big player. Everyone was expecting big things from this guy. He was doing well. Really started his career well, playing some good tennis. And then he started dipping off a little bit and his form dipped. I think he did have a few injuries, to be fair. I think maybe a problem with his coach as well, if I recall. But it seemed to be getting back on track now, and we're seeing some of the best of him, which is really good. And Thompson has been in some good form as well. He's been winning his matches quite convincingly. So for Coric to be, beating him, it seems, rather looking at the scoreline, I didn't watch the match relatively convincingly, aside from that first set. Fair play to him. He's one to watch, and you wouldn't want to play him in the form he's in.
Well, and he's going to be having to play Alex Zverev, who I thought Fokina might take a set, but Zverev proving all the critics wrong. And what a comfortable win that was. I watched the match and I couldn't believe how well Zverev was playing. This is coming to his best form now. And it's quite scary for if you're coming up against Chorich, sorry. He is going to have his work cut out, let's say. I don't put it past him. He could still do some damage here, but Zverev's looking very, very tasty in this tournament, I have to say. He'd be fancying his chances. Yeah. Now Djokovic
we literally did a podcast on him the other day because we was really impressed how he played against Nakashima. Yeah. We was unsure of whether he could raise his level, and that was a big indication to see where Zverev is at the moment. Not just physically, but mentally as well. And he proved us well. He proved we didn't say we was wrong. We wanted him to do well, so we're quite happy for it, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's good to see the Zverev back, how good we know he is. And his serve's firing. He's very powerful, and he just overpowered Fokina. But Fokina needs to have his head held high. He's had a great tournament. I'm sure he didn't expect to get this far. But he's such a young guy anyway. I think he's 21 years old or something. So the future's going to be bright for him. But on Zverev, it's another interesting thing, actually, is I saw that, I think it's, I forget the number, but there's about over half of the people left in the draw now under 24. Yes. And we're going to now see, with Djokovic out, a new US Open champion.
I mean, it's so exciting. I'm literally. This was the sort of thing I was hoping we could see one of these new talents make a real good run at it, and now we're going to actually see one of them win it.
Yeah.
Not in the circumstances that you probably would have expected,
Yeah,
but
of course.
it doesn't matter. I think that the standard's been so high across this whole tournament from everybody,
Yeah.
and you've seen it from all these 5-set matches we keep on having, how much everybody actually wants this. And
Yeah.
I think it's been one of the most exciting US Opens I've seen. And it's down to all of these great young players coming through. There's such depth in the sport, and I'm so
Well,
excited.
for even Shapovalov, he's the first Canadian now to have made the quarterfinal of the US Open. Brilliant achievement for him, knowing that there's been so many brilliant Canadians. But he might not be the last because we've got Pospisil still in.
Yes,
he
we
could
do.
be joining him straight away. But before we go on to that, we just want to talk about what Alexa said in the comments. He was saying how, do you know, we was talking about how we feel like Novak Djokovic we didn't want to predict him to win the tournament, but we both deep down thought he would. We're not saying that Djokovic is boring to watch. We love watching him. He's a brilliant player, and we don't find it boring that he keeps winning. But we just thought it would be boring for us to just be a bit out. It's not really that exciting if we just think, oh, Djokovic is going to win. If we both have the same pick, we just wanted something to sort of get a bit more excited because we love tennis and there's so many brilliant other players. So we thought we'd just ride the bandwagon of someone else.
I think we just want bragging rights, don't we? If one of these outsiders wins as well,
it just makes us look better as well because he predicted Kenin in the Australian Open. I don't know how he managed that, but
exactly. But yeah, just wanted to touch on. Obviously, we didn't get to cover some of the other matches from day 6, and I know that you just brought up Pospisil and that incredible match against my guy who just went out. Batista Agut, he's gone out, and I'm shocked to see him actually. But Vasek Pospisil, what a performance! I was really surprised that he was able to pull out those last 2 sets. The way the match was going, the first set, Pospisil was winning with his power. The next 2 sets, Batista Agut's level and consistency really raised, and you could see that Pospisil was more unforced errors coming. But he changed it up in those last 2 sets. You know, he hit 71 winners in this match, I think it was. I know. That's a big set. So I think Agut's 27, I believe, or 21, or something like that. But obviously the unforced errors were lower for Batista. Got more percentage play.
Yeah.
But that's how, if Pospisil keeps that up, look, he's beaten Batista Agut, who is...
Well, they're 2 informed men, aren't they? The 2 informed men on tour right now. Obviously, both semi-finalists at Cincinnati. But I did see something quite interesting, actually, because usually Cincinnati is not the week before the US Open. There's another tournament. I forget what it's called. But usually when you play in that tournament, you have a good tournament, it's very tricky then to play the US Open and do well. Yeah. So that's why I want to just touch on Novak Djokovic quickly and give him a bit more praise than what we do. And just say how amazing it is that he was able to play at the tennis he was after just winning Cincinnati, playing all that event, the intensity of it all, and then matching it and keeping it and maintaining it through this tournament in the US Open and looking unbeatable, to be fair.
Yeah.
The only way he went out was because he beat himself in the end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's such a high standard, and he probably would have been able to keep it up all the way to the end of this week as well, if he had stayed in. But he hasn't, and now, well, we've got other people. Obviously, Pospisil, he could be somebody that you don't really want to be meeting in the next round, and he's going to be meeting your guy in the next round, Alex de Minaur, who came through in an epic match there again, another 5-setter with Karen Khachanov. And
yeah, I watched this one. I wasn't sure if he was going to do it either, especially after that 3rd set. Khachanov looked very convincing. He looked in control of the match. But de Minaur pulled out some amazing shots in the 3rd and 4th, and he looked really good. His fitness was really high as well, which is good to see. And I'm glad he didn't have that 5-set syndrome as well, what he did against Steve Johnson in Wimbledon last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I was a bit worried going into that 5th. Oh, is he going to bottle it like he did before? It sort of must have played in the back of his mind. I don't really recall another 5th set Grand Slam he's played in, to be fair. So, but, you know, it's brilliant for him to beat Khachanov. Khachanov is a ridiculously strong player as well. So, fair play. It sets up a good affair now. And, you know, we're saying how Canadians... Look at all the Canadians. There's 3 of them.
Well, this is it. And the next person we're going to speak about, could be the one to keep your eye on if he can just hold his nerve in the big match, which is the next one. If he gets past Dominic Thiem, look at this result though against Mutet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mutet may as well have not shown up by the looks of it in the first 2 sets. And I've watched some of the hitting, and to go from Mutet obviously knocked out Dan Evans, and it's just a different game altogether playing Felix. Felix so powerful, and when he's on, he's on. And
Looks fresh as well, doesn't he, Felix?
Yeah, very good and very confident, and hitting the lines, hitting it deep, and so quick around the court. I wouldn't want Dominic Thiem's gonna have his work cut out, I think, a little bit in this. If he plays, he's gonna have to play his top game against Felix to get past him. He'd literally have to get, and obviously Thiem. So he took out Marin Cilic. That's a good win. I think in 4 is fair. Cilic showed a little bit of resurgence there, but all in all, I think Thiem, he's starting to find the form, starting to find it against a very good player, obviously US Open champion, Marin Cilic. So that's just, it's got to be tie of the round, isn't it? The next,
yeah, you'd say so. I feel like we're gonna. I don't know. To be fair, I think now when we get to the quarterfinals, there's no
they're not
tie. It's not an exciting one.
These ones aren't the quarterfinals yet. This is just the
4th round.
These are the final 4th round ones. We haven't even touched on these 2 yet either.
Yeah,
who both haven't dropped a set the whole tournament yet.
Yeah, they look strong. Bro, look at Rublev as well. That's crazy. 2 pay-goals either side.
Granted, Rublev has had an easier route through than Berrettini. Berrettini has had to beat Casper Ruud, who has been playing great tennis. And Berrettini, he has all of the ability to be able to get all the way to the semi-finals last year, went out in straight sets to Rafael Nadal. But this year, this is a test of like big proportions for Andrei Rublev. He sometimes struggles against these big, like people who are bigger in stature.
Berrettini, it's head-to-head. I don't know if anyone in the comments has got their head-to-head, but as far as I know, Berrettini's got the better of Rublev on the last few occasions.
I believe so.
So for me, I think he's going to do it again, to be fair. Although Rublev does look ridiculously strong, and you can never rule this guy out. I remember watching him last year playing against Thiem, and he beat him in that match. I think it was just a normal ATP, maybe a 250 or a 500. But wow, just this guy's, that's sort of what put him on the radar for me. Like saying this is a serious competitor and one to watch. And then the start of 2020, we know how well he was performing. I think he won a few titles, one in Doha, notably. And Rublev is the man on form, and he's just you just don't want to play him. I don't think anyone wants to play Rublev ever. He's just someone just doesn't go away. So good.
Yeah, but I don't think, but like you said, I don't think he has I think I had a look earlier and it said he has a losing record versus all of the big people who are left in the draw. And that's all of the people who we're talking about, your teams, your Medvedevs, your Berrettinis.
Including Shapo? What about El Shapo?
No, I meant all the people who are above him in the rankings. Yeah, so all of if he comes up against any of them, it's not looking good for him. And I just think he struggled. He hasn't been past, obviously. He's still very young. We got to remember this, but he hasn't been past the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam yet. And this is obviously his 4th round match, and this is where it starts getting difficult.
Yeah, but come on. Last year he played against the winner, who was Rafael Nadal. It's no easy tie. Without them 3 in it now, we've got the big 3 out of it. This is where it's more exciting. This is where you can prove yourself as a man.
Who do you fancy for it then? That tie?
It's so hard to call. I'd have to just go based off the head-to-head. I'm going to go with Berrettini. I would just go Berrettini against Rublev.
That's the sad thing. I would go Berrettini just based upon the fact that I think when Rublev faces these bigger guys in stature, the more powerful guys, I feel that they are able to out-hit him just with power. And I think that's just one part of his game. Maybe he needs to just find a workaround. But yeah, I mean, let's get on to, we got TFO. This was a big surprise of the round for me.
Yeah, it was for me as well. We didn't expect it at all. We thought Fuchsovich had too much for him, but TFO, fair play to him.
Wow.
I'd say he's playing the best tennis of his career as well.
Definitely. And that result, I was actually a bit shocked when did you watch any of the match? I watched some of the. I skimmed through. Obviously, it wasn't that the longest match at all. Anyway, didn't see
Mm.
that Martin had any answers for him though.
I do feel though, in Martin's defence, that 5 sets against Dimitrov took a lot out of him. We saw what it did to Dimitrov. He was just strolling. He was struggling to get across the court near the end of that match, and it took its toll on Fuchsovich. I think he didn't have much rest, did he? And he's playing obviously the next few days along, and it's physically very tough on him, and it was too much. But I don't want to take too much away from TFO. Fair play to him. Congratulations for reaching. I think this is the furthest he's reaching the slam.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting. And the next tie, which we're going to talk about against Daniel Medvedev, this is a real test now. This is where it gets tricky because Medvedev so far has cruised through. To be fair, he's not had too many problems, has he?
What did I say?
Yeah, you said Medvedev in 3.
It was too predictable. I think I know you were trying to.
Again.
I know. I knew you were trying to gas up the Wolf, and I wanted the Wolf to do better. But after seeing the way Medvedev plays against these lower ranked guys, you just know that it's going to take a mammoth effort to even get a set off him.
Yeah.
And it's proved again. I watched the highlights of that, and Wolf played really well. And that's the score you get against Medvedev when you play really well, which is so sad, isn't it? But you managed to get.
I think this is really good for Wolf, though. I think he would have learned a lot from that match, playing against someone like Medvedev, and he's going nowhere. We'll see him next year, and hopefully he'll be stronger for it. But I don't know if you want to get into some of the odds. I saw some people in the comments talking about different odds and stuff and who they think. There's a lot of love for El Chapo in the comments.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's one of those players that everyone's been waiting for, isn't it? To just finally perform on this level. And I've obviously picked him for, was it the Australian Open? Was it the outside?
I think that was me. I had him for.
Was it you had the
outsider pick for the Australian Open? Then he went out to Martin in the first round or second round.
It was the ATP event after that. I picked him to win. I think he went out in the first round of that as well.
Yeah, no, we love him, but we the last few times we've picked him, he's always gone out. So
yeah, so like you were saying, the odds on people to actually win this, I don't know if you'd be surprised or not. Medvedev is now the favourite for the tournament, and he's just under. I think he's at just 2-1. I think just under, and then you've got Zverev and Dominic Thiem. They're both 4-1.
Okay.
Then you've got Denis Shapovalov is actually next in before Felix, which is crazy, and he's at 9-1.
I'm sure he's been heavily backed though, Shapa.
Yeah, for sure, and especially with his record against all the other big people. This is the thing. Like when you see his record, you'd fancy him in some of these matches. He just beat Goffin, which is not an easy match. So and did it in style.
Yeah.
And then you've got Felix at 12-1, Berrettini 14-1. Then you've got Coric 18-1, Rublev 20-1.
That's shocking. Rublev.
I know. He's never been past the quarters.
I think it's because that I have to look at the draw. What do you have? Can you go up to the draw a little bit? I think it's because of the way he's going to have to play Medvedev, isn't he? Straight after, is it? So if the winner of Berrettini, is it?
The winner of Berrettini, yeah, it would play Medvedev or TFO in the next round.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So that's already a tough match. The Zverev, the Rublev one.
Yeah,
but like people have been saying in the comments, I'm glad I went for Berrettini to win that. Like Antonio said that he's got the better serve and is better than that, so he will win. There we go.
Your man, Alex de Minaur, he's at 25-1 at the moment. Obviously, he's got his match versus Vasek Pospisil, who you can get on at 40-1. I know, but that's not. He just beat Batista Agut, who is somebody who's not easy to beat. If he continues that form, you could see like crazy. Like he could be. Well, but he obviously come up against either Felix or Thiem in the next round. But you never know. It's just interesting. And TFO is the longest odds, which somehow he's 80-1. It's the I don't know why they don't give him any chance against Medvedev by the looks of it. So
is he the only US player left in the tournament?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's repping the home country as well, and he's still not favoured. But I guess there's so many top tier players left there. Who are you edging towards out of all of them then to win it?
Well, it's sad, isn't it? But based upon all of the stuff that we've seen in the tournament, I'm only going to base it upon the body of work that they've done in this tournament so far. and I'd have to say Medvedev. And I know it's boring, but the way I've seen him dispatch the players, and he's not played anyone too great, but the way that the players have been playing against him, I think it's going to be tough to beat him. It's been tough to even get a set off him. No one's managed that yet, and I think it could get very interesting. Obviously, it's going to get more interesting once he's played TFO. We might see him versus potentially Berrettini in the next round. And I'm not in that. I would still favour Medvedev again. Medvedev obviously was the finalist last year. Took Rafa to 5.
Yeah, he looked really good as well.
Now with no big 3, you'd fancy him to be.
I like Medvedev over 5 sets as well. I think he's always, even if he goes down a bit like he did against Nadal, it gives him enough time to get back into it, and he's got that in his locker to get back into matches which look lost. And not a lot of players have that really. But for me, I'm going to go for El Chapo, to be fair.
Wow.
I have to do it. I just have to. I think, like we've spoke about, his head-to-head record against some of these big guys left in the tournament.
2-0 against Medvedev.
He's 2-0 against Medvedev. And I think that, I don't know, I think we could have a bit of an upset here. And I think El Chapo is going to take it.
That would be very, very interesting if he did. Well, he's got to get past. Who has he got to get past first? It is Carreño Busta, who he has a losing record against first. So if he can get past him, then it's looking positive. But then he'll have.
Well, now I've picked him. Busta's probably going to win anyway. So that's that.
Medvedev's going out to TFO later, so that's he can thank me for that.
Anyway, let's get on to the women's because we've been talking quite a bit. I think we've done 40 minutes already, Ben, just about that.
Wow. It just flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, let us know if you've got any comments and let us know who you think is going to be winning the tournament from the men's side. We'd love to hear what you think.
Yeah, and from the women's side, with Jen Brady, she's still doing the damn thing there. You said fancied her against Kerber, and you're right.
Yeah, no, I really did. I think she's just a really good player right now and just in the top form of her career and a very difficult player to beat. Obviously, winner of WTA Lexington, looked very comfortable in that. Bit disappointed at Cincinnati, but since then, been very strong and beat Angelique Kerber relatively comfortably. And it's set up. I called the second one as well.
Yeah, I know.
You was going for Martic because you always go against Putin Saver.
I know. I said
the third set tie break didn't go all that way. She managed to get a break before that. And win that in 3. So fair play to her.
Great result, that.
And that's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah.
My other pick's out as well.
No. Say again?
Kontaveit out.
Yeah, Kontaveit's out. That's
so
really
for me, I've only got one pick left, and that's Alex de Minaur now. That's my dark horse on the men's. I've got both my women's selections out. So that's a shame, but fair play to Osaka. She's been, like I said, I did fancy Osaka to win that tie, to be fair.
Tie the next round, this one, surely, isn't it? Did you see this match between Kvitova and Rogers?
I didn't watch it. I saw some of the shots.
Yeah, what a match. I mean, I was actually thinking Kvitova would be too strong for her with the power that she possesses, but Rogers was firing it straight back. She's in the form of her career right now, Rogers, and that's going to be really interesting, I think. And Osaka Rogers is one of those ties where you don't know. Osaka, she can have the odds. You can't afford to have a slump on a set against Rogers.
I don't think she can either. That's a really good point you make because we've seen with Osaka, she has that second set syndrome often. And I feel like against someone like Shelby Rogers in her hometown as well, US Open, that's her tournament. And you can't really be doing that against this caliber of player. But irrelevant to that, I just think Osaka, I've said it on the last podcast, she is the most in-form player on the women's tour.
Yeah.
Shortly followed by Brady. She's just a bit below. But for me,
all right. What about Azarenka, my pick?
Well, we'll get on to her.
I don't know indeed.
Much praise.
And plus, the other person we want to speak about as well went through again, Peronkova. And she's through. What an amazing! She knocked out Donna Vekic. I'll just go back to the last round.
Yeah.
What an amazing win for her as well. 6-4, 6-1. That's like easy, and we can't stop singing her praises, can we? On the podcast. So,
well, I know you was cheering her on. You've got that Bulgarian ties.
Yeah,
but we both love her, to be fair, and we want her to do well. It'd be brilliant if she can go all the way and win it. Wouldn't that be a story in 2020? And I think what we've seen so far this year is anything's possible. What a year it's been. Like, no one can predict what's going to be happening next. Who knew we'd be locked in our homes for this long? Who knew that Djokovic would be disqualified from the US Open? It's just a crazy world we're living in right now, and anything's possible. So for me, Pironkova winning it wouldn't even be that much of a shock based off what I've seen so far.
Anyone can win the women's, and just as you predicted, Elise Cornet took out Madison Keys has barely lost a game in the whole
I
tournament.
forget who it was in the comments. They were saying to me last week, I don't know what I'm talking about, saying Cornet is going to beat Keys. And I know they got up her head-to-head, and it wasn't looking very promising.
No,
the fact that Keys has won her last, I think in the tournament so far, she's won 6-1, 6-2, and 6. Probably similar. She's not dropped many games, basically. And, Cornet managed to come through. Granted, she was... I think she was lucky Keys retired, because I was a bit worried in that second set. But hopefully Keys gets well soon. Looks like she's a bit injured, to be fair.
Look at who else we've got here. All these Americans here. And as I said, Serena Williams. She's still got it. She's still got
after that first set, I was thinking, yes, I was right. Sloane's going to beat her. I can't wait to get on the podcast and say to Ben, oh, how did I manage to predict that one? But then, no, too much, Serena, isn't it? She turned it on and just so much experience at this level. It's crazy, isn't it? She's done this, been here, done this so many times before.
Look at that for a match. I think that's the tie of the next round for me. Sakkari versus Serena. And I still wouldn't put it past Serena getting past Sakkari either. I think Serena's still got a lot of fighting. She's obviously a power player, similar to
Sakkari. Played each other, Russell, in the Cincinnati. That was the tie, and Sakkari knocked Serena out.
I believe you're right.
Does anyone know in the comments? I think it was Sakkari who knocked Serena out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, you're right. She did. She beat her in 3.
Yeah,
she beat. She lost the first set and then came through 7-6, 6-1. So I bet Serena be looking to get a revenge. She's obviously got more Grand Slam experience though. So
this is more at stake, isn't there? This is a slam. It's not quite a Masters. You have to raise your level, and you expect. I feel like in a slam, you always expect the bigger players to sort of come out on top based off the fact that they've done it. They've been here, done it before. But like you say, it's not really a normal slam, is it? It's not the same. There's no fans in the stadium. They're under different. They're in the bubble at the moment, aren't they? So it's all a bit different. But let's move on to Azarenka.
Yeah, there she is.
We called it
again. She's done Swiatek, and Swiatek was actually looking pretty good, to be honest. In that first set, I thought Azarenka was struggling a little bit, but she just has this determination in her, which is really promising, and that's what I think did her so well last week as well in Cincinnati. It was comfortable. Second set, it looked like she'd just worn her down, and there was just more unforced errors coming. Everything that she was sending back was with a bit of interest, and she was hitting close to the baseline on so many shots that it was hard for Swiatek to even get into the court. So Azarenka threw again, and she's been sort of cruising, which is great to see. I like the fact that we've got another person who won the tournament last week who's sort of cruising through, and she's now playing. As I said, she'd have too much for Surster, much of her as well.
Yeah, the Joe Conta conqueror's out, Surster.
Yeah, I didn't
on that match in the end, but yeah, really close. And that second set, she won it quite comfortably, and then the third set tiebreak, it seemed to be a bit of a 50-50. To be fair, Muchova just edged it slightly.
Yeah, and now, obviously, sad to see McNally. She went out, but I think we sort of saw that coming a little bit. Mertens' season.
She's so young though, McNally. We're going to see a lot from a really top player. She's an exciting player to watch for sure on the women's tour, and one who has a lot of ability. I think she's always learning as well, and she'll learn a lot from playing this match, because Elise Mertens a little bit more experienced, and we know she's been playing very well as well. So no hard feelings. I'm sure McNally will feel okay about this one.
Yeah. Has Sophia Kenin arrived? Ons Jabeur, obviously her toughest test so far, and she's just come through with flying colours against Ons Jabeur. It was a close first set, but Kenin, I watched this one. She was actually just looking really good. She's a bit frustrated.
I watched this one too. It was a good one.
She was a bit frustrated on some points, but Ons Jabeur is not an easy task to get past, and in that second set, it was more the Kenin we know. She just broke her down, struck when the opportunity arose, that type of thing. And yeah, it's sort of an easy win. I wouldn't say completely easy, but in a Grand Slam against Jabeur, I don't think it gets much easier than straight sets. And
Yeah, no,
she's always going to give you a fight. And now we've got a very exciting Mertens Kenin in the next round.
Well, that's
And
tough.
Mertens had much more practice coming into this tournament.
Yeah.
But
A little more match fitness for sure.
I'd still shy towards Kenin though.
I can't call that one at all, mate. I'll be honest. I'll go for Mertens just to go against you.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, that just brings up the rest of that round. We've obviously got some quarterfinals, which are, the quarterfinals. We've got Jem Brady putting Saver, Osaka versus Rogers, and then we'll have to wait on the rest. I'm hoping for in this one, Peronkova.
Yeah, I think we're both cheering her on, really. We both want her to do really well. And I think we're both joint in that, the fact that Peronkova deserves everything she gets, because to do what she's doing right now, to have made it this far in this tournament, beating the likes of Muguruza and other top players is incredible. And what an achievement. Everyone thought she was finished and she's proven everyone wrong. And that's what we love to see in tennis.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to go with Peronkova Williams. I think Williams is going to turn the tables on Sakari this time, and I'm going to go with Azarenka Kenin for the next one, and that's going to be all guns blazing, hopefully. But we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We've been speaking for quite a while. I don't know if you want to touch on a bit of challenger action.
Yeah, we can have a quick
We can just briefly talk about it, because it's a bit disappointing, really. I know we don't want to talk about it too much, but we've got to do it. And that's Alcaraz has lost the final, unfortunately. But it happens. He played against a more experienced player, and you can't win every match. I think it was against Zapata Morales. Is that correct? I don't know if you've got it up there.
Yes, well, Zapata Morales is one of those amazing players on the Challenger Tour as well. Like we saw him. Who was he beating? I think he got to the final of another one, didn't he, against Yannick Hanfmann, I believe.
Yeah. And Hanfmann just beat him on that. But yeah, he's a really good top player. And Alcaraz, I think all you can say is positivity regarding Alcaraz. To have done what he's done so far, I think he's the only player to have reached 2 finals back to back at his age since Rafael Nadal. So yeah, he's in good company for sure, and the future's very bright for him. I really hope we get to see him at the French Open. That's my next thing now. Yeah. And if he keeps playing the way he's doing, I'm sure we will. And we've had Lorenzo Musetti. Unfortunately, he went out as well in the tournament. Another young player we follow regular. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and I thought some of the tennis in this tournament has been really good and encouraging to see. Another name I'd like to talk about is Bonadio. I thought he was incredible.
You love him, didn't you?
Yeah, he's a really good player. And the match I watched, I think it was Bonadio versus Martira.
Yeah.
Bonadio won that match. He was the underdog. Martira is an extremely top German player. But some of the tennis was just sublime, really. I was watching it, just couldn't believe what I was seeing. The level was just so high. And I encourage a lot of you guys, if you don't watch a lot of the challengers, I know it's difficult to always find the streams and stuff, but if you're able to, you can often find them online or different platforms, like streaming it. It's incredible tennis, and it's something that's really exciting to watch. So I know we've got the US Open going on right now, and there's so much tennis as it is, but often it's on during the middle of the day. So if you want to fill your whole day with tennis like we do, watch some of the challengers during the day, because it won't disappoint. It's some top stuff. And if Alcaraz is on, watch him. Brilliant.
I want to bring up, and we've just got to give a shout out to somebody who's probably been in the best form of everybody, which is Aslan Karatsev. And look at this form. I mean, he just got to the final of 3 challenger events in a row. He obviously the first one, he lost to Stan Wawrinka, which is what's Stan doing there. The next one, he won when Stan dropped out.
Before he drew Stan in the semi-finals, and then Stan dropped out for injury, so he was rubbing his hands together, got into the final, and then won that. But like you say, I think I don't want to count them right now, but I think it's 15 since post-lockdown. He's won 15-1. Obviously, the one.
Yeah, 15-1. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's just crazy. Like, to only lost one, and it's the Stan Wawrinka, and then all of that to win 2 challenger titles now in a row since Stan dropped back out of the challengers again. And I watched the match yesterday against Otte, and it wasn't even a close final. He's just been battering. Look, he didn't drop a set in that whole tournament, which is just incredible.
No, he is playing some crazy tennis, and I don't know. I've known about him for a few years, but he's never really performed to this level before. So it's good that he's playing at his peak now, and this is the best tennis he's ever played in his career. And I'm in a way, I bet he was hoping he played Stan in that semi-final for like the rematch, because playing against all these other people and winning every week. I know what it's like playing tennis myself. I never win that much, but if I go on a run of winning a few matches, I often like to then challenge myself and play someone who I've in the past lost to or have difficulty. I know he's a much better player than me, because I feel like then you can sort of more challenge yourself and test your game to see where you're improving and what you can do better. And I'm sure with someone like him, it can be, it's probably very similar. And he probably wanted to play Stan Wawrinka in that match to see what he could offer. But then there's probably another side of him thinking, I'll take the easy bye to the final. I don't have to play him. I'll get into the final and have another win to my belt.
Money and ranking points, don't forget, as well. So, and he's now up to the highest ranking in his career now, and that's 140 in the world. And look at all of this. He's been playing on clay. All of these wins on clay, 15-1, obviously on clay. And what tournament's coming up round the corner that he might be able to get a wild card or something into that event? Potentially the French Open.
Of course,
with that type of form, I wouldn't want to play him. Yeah, it's quite incredible anyway.
Anyway, let's wrap it up there. We just got a quick one from Simon Lee. Greetings from Sydney.
Hey.
That's good to hear from you, Simon. Hope you're doing well.
Indeed.
And if there's any other questions, Ben's got some love. I've got a lot of hate as usual about my Novak comments. I just want to clarify. I love Novak Djokovic. He's a brilliant player. However, on court, I do feel he makes a bit more antics than other players. That's just my opinion. But I'll give you some love anyway. So Benny Boy's a real one. Loves a bit of you. But if there's any other questions you've got now, let us know and we can answer them quickly. I don't know if you've got anything else to say, Ben. If not, we'll wrap it up.
No, I think that's done. I think, we'll just catch up with all of today's matches tomorrow and just join us on another live podcast and we'll run through all the results. Yeah.
Just one thing, another greetings from Tokyo.
Wow.
We're worldwide, Ben. We've got them all from all over.
That's quality. Love that. Love to see the love coming in for the game to love, boys.
And then OCS, I love you too, man. Don't worry. It's all good. Everyone's got a different opinion in the game of tennis or sport in general. I just appreciate that you're always here commenting and we love to hear different views anyway. So it's all good, man.
Yeah.
And go on. Last question he's got. Go for it. My favorite TV show.
Oh yeah, what's your favorite TV show?
Well, to be fair, I don't have much time for TV shows at the moment. It's all tennis for me. I'm watching New Girl. It's a series on Netflix. But aside from that, who will win the US Open on both sides?
Well,
we've already covered that, haven't we? I went for Shapo, El Shapo on the men's and the women's. We didn't talk about the women's who we thought would win. It's very tricky, isn't it? I'll probably go Osaka.
Yeah, well, my girl's still in, so I'm still sticking with Azarenka, and then I'm Medvedev on the other side. I'm saying I'll probably take it now.
Yeah, but I would love to see Pirankova.
Yeah, Pirankova.
Pirankova. Yeah, but anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, guys, for all your questions and tuning in. You can now watch the clip on YouTube. I think it's being directly streamed to there. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you've not already. And we'll see you for the next one. I know someone asked earlier. Sorry, I forgot to respond. We'll probably be doing another podcast tomorrow. If not, it'll be the day after. Thanks for all your support, and we'll see you soon. I think also one thing.
What's that?
No, that's everything. We've done it all. Cheers, guys. Cool. Peace.